Good evening. I just want to join the chorus of Joan, you are the most amazing inspiration. Joan's a new friend in my life. I got this random call early this summer saying you'd been referred to me as someone to be featured in this book. And I, like all these women, was busy and I had all sorts of things that I was doing. But what nobody knew was I wanted to write a book. So what better way to do that than to start and to participate in doing one? And it was my opportunity to not only do my chapter, which is chapter 6, about making your own path, but apparently Joan liked what she heard in our interview, and she asked me to write the foreword for the book. But the truth of the story is, and I think you've heard it with every story here today, is that every woman always has a point about her life where she's uncertain and she's unsure. And the key is, what do you do then? And it really is about finding yourself and trusting yourself and finding your own way. I had so many people in the early days tell me, Jill, no one will ever hire you as a consultant. And I'm like, but why? Well, you're female and you're too young. They don't say that part about me anymore. But I didn't let them define me. I decided that I was going to have to figure out my own way. And so I just badgered and badgered and badgered. And my first consulting job was with the Small Business Development Center while I was working on my MBA. They were looking for some graduate students to work with central businesses in Iowa back in the early 80s during that horrible recession where Iowa was the Michigan and Ohio. And so I was working with people where it really mattered what we did. It determined if they could keep their home or pay their mortgage or put food on the table for their children. I now sit on the federal board that advises one of the cabinet appointees about that special program. And it all is about putting yourself forward. When I listen to the stories of all of these amazing women, and for those of you who haven't bought the book yet, I'm going to plug it. It's 5 generations of women. And it's also about all sorts of different prisms of success. Some are entrepreneurial successes, some are writing successes, some are successes in their career, but they're at the very earliest stage of their success. And for each of them, it's about becoming the wholest part of who they are and allowing the truest parts of themselves to be seen and to benefit our nation and our world. And so if you haven't picked up your book, it's how much, 16 something? It's money well spent. But just as a final thought, and we'll let our next speaker, Nancy, talk, my favorite quote is a Winston Churchill quote, which is, when you're going through hell, keep going. Because for most of us, we always will have that moment in time. People will say to me even now, you know, I'm in a Hall of Fame and things like that, and they'll go, oh, Jill, nothing bothers you anymore. I'm like, are you crazy? You should have seen me on Tuesday, you know? You always have those moments of the fetal position. But it's about being a survivor. It's about getting up. It's dusting yourself off. It's about reaching out and asking for help and passing your hand back to give help when you can. And in those ways, you can embrace the richness of success, however you define it. And I think that's what this book does the best, is it shares that broad prism of success. So, thank you.